it's hard to be honest about our struggles. And like, I'm a coach, dude, and I coach high performing people or people that I want to help perform at a high level. So for me to say that I'm struggling, that seems like, well, I don't want to work with that guy, because if he's struggling, like, I don't want to struggle. So there's a lot of fear. There still is sometimes, and how quote unquote honest I get, but I have got to do what I believe I need to do. And if that comes at a cost to me at times, so be it. And so for people out there, again, in the insurance world, like, if you think it hurts right now, you have no idea what's coming in the next probably 6 to 12 months. Like, the turn of 2021 is going to be brutal for this industry if people aren't willing to say, I don't get it, I need help, I need someone to come in and pour into me. If you're not willing to do that, then I'm telling you right now, you've made your own bed. And as much as I don't like saying stuff like this, I'm not going to feel sorry for you.
Welcome to the RockstarsRocking podcast, powered by Voluntary Disruption, a show dedicated to people who are crushing their business and life goals. These are bite-sized conversations with leading rock stars in their respective industry who are pumped to share their story to help drive you to the next level. So, are you ready to rock? Speaking of rock stars, here's your host, Eric Silverman.
Hey, rock stars, welcome back to another rockin' episode of RockstarsRocking. That's hashtag for RockstarsRocking. And man, I'm fired up today. I have my coach, my consultant, my podcast guru, my good friend, Ryan Miller, on the program today. What's up, Ryan?
What up, buddy? How are you, man?
Man, I am living the dream. I feel so lucky to have you on the show, and just lucky to be living life at the ripe old age of 29. For those that don't know, we are recording this on my 29th birthday, AKA, I'm not going to shout it loud, 40, my 40th birthday. Oh, what did I say? But we just talked about that, Ryan. I'm proud to be that big number. And you just talked about how you, my friend, are, you told me that your life started when you were 40. So I want to talk about that too. Real quick, for those that don't know Ryan, Ryan is a coach, business coach to high performers and consultant leaders all across the United States. Started in more or less the insurance and benefits world, but he is quickly expanding that presence, I've noticed. So we'll talk about that as well. And if you don't mind, I want to dig right in and just get to it. I have a few questions I've been dying to ask you.
Fire away. I'm always ready, right?
Always ready. So first off, I do have to mention, if anybody's watching on the YouTube channel, you'll notice we have our matching stud hats, I will say. I mentioned to Ryan how much his new hat, he's got a new brand, Be Authentic BA, how much I needed an Orioles version of that hat. So I'm always representing something Orioles. For those that can't see, I just pointed to the Oriole bird on my chest, on my jacket. And dude, out of the blue, he hooks me up. He sends me this hat, new era. He doesn't mess around. The brand is exactly what Major League Baseball chooses. And it's orange and black, Be Authentic. So I had to wear it for today, man.
I know. I feel like as an Orioles fan, if you can admit that on a consistent basis, you are as authentic as anybody out there. So, I mean, it just deserved it.
All right, well, we could go on and on for hours about that. Ryan's an Angels fan, probably not as big of a baseball fan in general as I am, but he's an Angels fan. And the Angels, although they have great players, have not really been able to put their stuff together for a long time either. But we'll save that for another day. All right, so Ryan, talk to me about your coaching business. Talk to me about what you're doing to bring value to those that hire you and pay you every single month to get them to the next level. Because, I'm part of one of your coaching groups too, and the experience has been incredible. But here's the reality. If you're not already following Ryan, he gives away a ton of content of value, tremendous value. That's how I met him, online on LinkedIn and various other social channels, for free every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So talk to me about the coaching world, how you got into it, and what you're doing when somebody hires you.
Yeah, I mean, so long story short, I worked for a large publicly traded company back from 2006 to 2011. I had a lot of respect and admiration for our corporate trainer at the time, who was just this super Zen dude. Knew that one day I wanted to do that, kind of stand up, train, coach, lead, teach. I ended up getting laid off of that job in 2011, just kind of back into the recession, and too long to talk about now. But that was my kind of leap into coaching early on. And I was really focused on sales because I had spent 17 or 16 years in sales up to that point. But what I ended up finding more than anything, though, still to this day, I do a lot of coaching in sales, business development, marketing. My personal belief is that if you become the best human being, the best version of yourself, that will output and produce the best outcomes in whatever area that you want to serve in. So really, at the end of the day, I'm helping people to try and, to the best of their ability, understand who they are, to become the best version of themselves, and continue to strive for the outcomes that they desire.
So what I love is, like I said, I'm currently in a coaching session with Ryan and a handful of other rock stars. And what I love about the coaching style that you have is that you're not scared away or afraid to ask the tough questions and really push us in the group to make decisions for our personal and business life that we might not otherwise do, or I should even say some might just ignore and shy away from and act like it doesn't exist. So that's the value I've already gotten out of it, and we're not even done yet. So I can't wait to see what else is in store. When it comes to how you've been doing your branding, I mean, guys, that's how I met Ryan. I met him on social media, right on LinkedIn, just started following each other, and I appreciated him following me back. We just continuously put out content. His is like over the top in the best way possible. Tons of video, tons of energy, tons of passion, tons of authenticity. And we didn't actually meet in person until a couple of years ago for the first time. And we just hit it off right then and there. But one of the things that I love about what you do branding wise is you started a podcast years ago called The Excellence Mindset, which I totally love that name. I told you I love that name. And then you done and screwed it up and canceled the name. What the heck? Now it's called Authentic Conversations with Ryan Miller. So talk about the podcast and the evolution of the podcast.
Yeah, so back in 2000, end of 2017, early 2018, I was really drawn to this idea of excellence and really what that meant for the individual. I was leading a sales team at the time, actually, so I was employed. And so I loved this kind of play on words of excellence in what it means, but then in the middle of that word excellence, swapping the C for an S. And so then it became excellence. And Zig Ziglar actually said, at some point, everything in your life is selling, right? We're selling ourselves on a job, on a relationship, on getting our kids to go to bed on time, whatever. So I really felt as though honing in on this mindset in which we could become the best salesperson, putting ourselves out there, like what does it take to truly sell ourselves well, to overcome challenges, and to get all we want out of life. So that's where it started. And I loved that for a lot of reasons, and I still do. But the more that I was pushing into this idea of authenticity for myself, so I tell people I am an open book with many torn pages. There are very few things in my life that nobody knows. I mean, my wife knows everything, but outside of that, there are very, very few people. I just share it all. And so what I wanted to do, especially in light of the world that we live in today, is I want to help give people the permission to be proud of who they are, all the while trying to work on the rough edges. And so it's just giving people that permission, and so bringing people on the podcast, having conversations with people in which we want to say, like, look, if you're struggling, let's cry together about it. If you are proud of something you've done, let's talk about it. You don't have to be ashamed of where you're at or who you are, so long as you are striving to be the best that you possibly can. And that's going to look different for everybody.
So you're continuing the podcast. I know it comes out, I believe, every Thursday. Is that accurate?
Thursdays. Yep. I try. Right. Yeah. Once in a while we miss, but most Thursdays.
Right. We're all only human, right? We're authentic. It is what it is. Yeah. Stuff happens. Stuff gets in the way. But you done one-upped yourself, man. Like now you just started your own vlog where once a week you have a videographer following you around all over town and all in the office, talking about what you're doing in your daily life. Talk about the genesis of where that came from, why you wanted to do it. As I talk about it, all I'm hearing is your intro, and I'm visioning you saying, "You want authenticity? I'll give you authenticity." Right? Was that all right? So
Dude, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
You'll know what that means if you go watch it. I encourage you to go watch it. So talk about that.
Oh gosh, it sounds so conceited and selfish. So what happened really was I love to do video. I just feel really comfortable up in front of people, in front of a camera. So I was doing a lot. I was doing 1-hour webinars at the beginning of the pandemic, no cost, trying to help people through all different leadership, sales, just performance principles. And so I was doing those, and I needed somebody to help me cut those up into just small clips, edit them to share them online, because an hour is a lot for some people to digest. So a friend of mine called me one day and she said, "Hey, I have a friend that's a videographer. He got crushed during the pandemic. He has a wife and 2 kids to support. Do you think that you could refer him some business?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll talk to him." So we talked, and I loved him. And I loved the fact that he was more interested in the creative side and actually producing the content than he was even in shooting the video, though he's really good at video. So actually we started like that. I was paying him money every single week to cut up those videos. And then one day we were sitting around and I'm like, "Hey, this sounds really ridiculous, but what do you think about like you following me around? And let's just try to put a vlog together, and that will pay you more money. So, so you can earn some more." I'm trying still at some point to bring him on as a full-time employee. But that will help you out some more. Hopefully that will produce some more content for me, and let's just see what happens. So we just decided to give it a try. It was super awkward in the beginning. Like I share this story a lot with people. There's a restaurant out here called Mendocino Farms, and it's a small chain sandwich shop, and really great sandwiches, all organic, really bougie stuff. And so we're in there one day shooting the vlog, and here this guy comes up behind me, and he's got his camera, and he's videoing me ordering food, and he's videoing the woman behind the register taking, and people are like staring at me like, "Who is this guy? What's going?" I felt like such a tool, like literally just like such an idiot. Since then, I've gotten more comfortable with it. And so, for people that see it, sometimes it's sharing super exciting stuff and a lot of fun that I'm having with a lot of energy. Other times, like a couple weeks ago, my office got broken into. We shared that. A few weeks prior to that, I shared a lot of just kind of the dark moments that I've been through, even up to the last few months. And when Ian, that's my creative director that does it all, when he produced the final product for me, like I watched it back and I cried just because of the way he put it together in a place that really got me back to the emotion of what it was. So it's been super helpful. I've been getting some good feedback, but who knows? I have no idea where that's going to go. I think it's just another way, again, to open up for people, not so much to try and get people to want to work with me, though that would be great. But really, again, I'm just trying to give people permission just to open up themselves, because the more that happens, the more I believe that we're going to relate to each other in very special ways. We're going to see past all of the division over politics and religion and whatever else. That those are important things, but those things shouldn't be dividing us. And so hopefully I'm helping a small group of people, maybe even just one person, to truly become themselves and begin to bridge those gaps that we're seeing everywhere today.
I love that. I love that. And for those who haven't checked it out yet, check it out. They're fun. They're helpful. They're informative. They're value driven. And I get a lot out of them. So I'm glad you're doing it. So please continue. So when it comes to, it's like we're working backwards here. So let's talk about the pandemic for a second, right? It's still topical and will be when this gets released. I don't think it's going away, sadly, right this second. You lost some revenue, Ryan, as did millions and millions of other business owners and millions upon millions of people that lost their actual job. Can you talk about that and what you've been doing to bounce back?
Yeah, so I don't always like to share this. I don't know, I guess for a couple of different reasons, but for context and, you and I having a conversation here and everyone just gets to listen in. So the second week of March, I had 2 in-person consulting agreements here in Orange County. Both businesses had to shut their doors because of the stay-at-home order. I lost $20,000, not one time, but a month. Those were $20,000 a month contracts combined that I lost in literally a 48-hour period. And so, no joke, I cried. Like I literally, like tears fell from my face because I've been in positions like this before and they don't always end well. And so I cried, went home, really bummed out with my wife. We talked about it, kind of figured out what we were going to do, prayed about kind of what's next. The next morning, I picked up the phone. I called two of my best clients, actually both in the insurance world, two CEOs of two different companies, and said, like, I literally got crushed. I told them specifically, I lost $20,000 a month in income. I need your help to put me in front of people that are going to put some of this back together quickly. So that was the first thing I did. And then the second thing I did was I realized that I all of a sudden had about 25 hours a week of time. And I felt like this was a good wake-up call. And so while I love to consult because it does great wonder for the businesses I'm able to work with, my passion is really coaching. And so this was the opportunity to finally put together some of the coaching programs that I had wanted to do, that people had been asking me to do, which is what brought up the Broker Excellence Group Coaching Program. So that's worked out really well. We've actually launched 2 of those during the pandemic and filled both of those up. That was exciting. I'm working on a really, really big high performer base coaching program that we're actually in testing right now on. That would have never happened. And it's crazy for me to say this, but 2019 was the best revenue year I've ever had in business. 2020 was slated to top that, but then I got smashed. I just, as of last Friday, surpassed my 2019 revenue number.
That's awesome.
Even though to date I've lost $140,000 in revenue from what I thought I was going to have, because it was like, I just got to get my shit back together, right? Like, it wasn't that I was off before, but no excuses. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I'm struggling. Yes, there's going to be a different environment out there, but I cannot let that distract me from this journey that I'm on. And so, and then the vlog came, and rebranding of the podcast, and so many other things that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do had that not been taken away from me. So I hate to say this for people that are still hurting and still struggling and don't have a good story to tell, but I'm actually thankful for the pandemic because it forced me to get deeper into who I was.
So look, I took away a lot of nuggets there. I'm sure everybody will too. But one of the big things I took away, and I jotted down so I didn't forget to mention, is you took that tragic personal event with respect to lost revenue to feed your family, and you dwelled on it for about a half a minute. Like, you cried, you got it out of the way, you talked to your wife, you prayed on it, and you woke up the next morning and you did what most would say is impossible. You did what most would say is insane. And to remind everybody, all he did was, dare I say it, he was authentic. Be authentic. He did it. He opened up, right? Most people would hide that. Most people during the pandemic, particularly in the beginning, I would ask people in any industry, how's business? I'm sure it's tough. And I'm sure you agree. I heard this all the time. No, things are great. Everything's awesome. Believe it or not, we've been growing I heard that so often, and I'm looking around and I'm like, somebody's lying. Probably a lot of people are lying, right? Most people are lying. So I love how you just called up your top couple clients and friends, and you said, I need your help. I just got crushed. Who can I meet? And you know what happens when you're authentic and you're genuine and you share personal stories? People genuinely want to help you. And that's what happened. People helped you get to where you're at now in general.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And just so people know, I feel like because you serve a lot of people in the benefit space, I've actually never shared their names because, I don't know, for a lot of different reasons, but because this industry is going to be listening. So those two people were Richard Silverstein, who is the managing partner for Alera East, Silverstein Insurance.
Oriole fan, just so you know, he's an Oriole fan.
He is a diehard Oriole and Ravens fan.
He's in Baltimore, just so you know.
And he did come out and take me to a Ravens-Rams game. Wonderful human being. He's an amazing man for a billion different reasons. The second person was Jamie Hawkins, who is the founder and CEO of BTR, Benefit Technology Resources, out of Florida. And so those two people, and I've continued to be able to do work for them. But those two human beings really demonstrated to me what it meant to be a great client, because like it's usually backwards, right? It's, we go to our vendors for everything. Our vendors are there to support us, and that's wonderful. But this was the other way. Like, they were paying me to do work, and I called them for help, and they didn't even think twice. And as a matter of fact, like, Jamie just sent me another referral like 2 or 3 days ago. So that to me, again, those are the type of people I want to work with. That demonstrates the character, the nature of a human that I just want to do life with. So anyway, I wanted to say their names because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to know them. And so yeah, I was just super fortunate. And the other thing I wanted to say, because you touched on this, was, it's hard to be honest about our struggles. And like, I'm a coach, dude, and I coach high performing people, or people that I want to help perform at a high level. So for me to say that I'm struggling, that seems like, well, I don't want to work with that guy, because if he's struggling, like, I don't want to struggle. So there's a lot of fear. There still is sometimes, in how quote unquote honest I get, but I have got to do what I believe I need to do. And if that comes at a cost to me at times, so be it. And so for people out there, again, in the insurance world, like, if you think it hurts right now, you have no idea what's coming in the next probably 6 to 12 months. Like, the turn of 2021 is going to be brutal for this industry if people aren't willing to say, I don't get it, I need help, I need someone to come in and pour into me. If you're not willing to do that, then I'm telling you right now, you've made your own bed. And as much as I don't like saying stuff like this, I'm not going to feel sorry for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if this wasn't wired to my desk as a mic, I would drop it right now. So by all means, you just said it all. Listen, as we wrap up these last couple minutes, I wanted to mention and remind folks that don't know, I always give you credit every episode. I was just talking to Ryan about I was picking his brain. I was the quintessential, hey, Ryan, can I pick your brain? I'm starting a podcast. And he was genuine and kind. I'm not a client of his at that point. And he said, sure, whatever you want to know. And we started talking, and he said that he had just brought on some staff that could do it. Long story short, he and his team are my post-production, audio, visual, and social media gurus. And we've been incredibly happy and with it. I can't say better words if I tried. So if you love the way this looks on YouTube and the way this sounds on the place you're consuming the podcast, then thank Ryan. If you hate it, thank Ryan.
I like that you said that. I do.
but with all seriousness, Ryan, I know it's not a big, huge revenue thing for you, but obviously, Gary Vee might call it a side hustle. If there's do you have any goals? Like, if anybody has been thinking about starting or creating a podcast, would you like them to reach out in some capacity?
Yeah, because much more than me generating revenue, which is cool. This is actually helping to employ people that didn't have jobs during the pandemic. So I've been able to bring people on, a full-time person as well as some part-time people. And so the more I'm able to do that, and it's in our wheelhouse because we were doing it for me. Yeah. And so then, we started doing it for you. We do some other smaller side projects for people like this. But yeah, I mean, we would love to have, a dozen of these things, because that team could continue to develop into something really cool. And there's just a lot of people on that side of it that are aspiring to grow their personal income, their business as well. And maybe one day they take that and run with it on their own, and it has nothing to do with me. And I'd be super pumped for that too.
Yeah, I remember when we first talked, you mentioned how you weren't doing this as a huge moneymaker, revenue generator. If you broke even, you had said it wasn't that big of a deal. You really just wanted to give somebody who's really good and talented at doing stuff that I needed, quite candidly, a chance to do what they're good at and have income during this time. And heck, I was going to pay somebody anyway. And I don't care where they're at. They're 3,000 miles away. What's the difference to me? And guys, I don't know if you noticed earlier, he's talked about his two clients that he called earlier, going back to that story, because it's such a great story. They're both on the East Coast. You keep in mind, Ryan's in Southern California, in Orange County, a little north of LA, I guess. And, here's the thing. His top clients are Baltimore and Florida. So, no matter where you are in the country, let alone where you are in the world, in the age of Zoom and the age of where we're at, your coach, your client, your vendor, your solution partner, your back office production, post-production team that I have Ryan doing, they can be anywhere. And why would you care? Why should you care? So I don't know. I just think that's important to remind people of.
Yeah, and too, it gives me a really good excuse to get on an airplane, which I can't wait to do again here real soon.
Absolutely. Well, next time you're in Baltimore, you got to tell me, and me and Richard, we're going to take you to an Orioles game. Ravens, do it during the summer. We'll take you to an Orioles game. I'll show you what a real sport looks like. You can sit in my seats. All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate everybody who is listening now and or watching on YouTube. This has just been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on. If you haven't already done so, those listening or watching, please do me a favor and subscribe to the show and go back to all the other episodes. There's a ton of rock stars with value that you can learn from. Stay tuned for future episodes. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so and leave a review. A nice little written review would be great. And by the way, 5 stars would totally rock. So don't forget that either. For everybody behind the scenes, who's behind? For Ryan and his team and myself behind the scenes, I'm Eric Silverman. That's Ryan Miller. And this has been another Rockstar episode of Rockstars Rocking. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Rockstars Rocking podcast. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. 5 stars would totally rock. Until next time, Rockstars, keep rocking.